I used to hate pictures being taken of me, and now I do photo shoots. I used to fear talking to new people, and now I turn up to networking events alone. I used to be extremely socially awkward, and now I get on stages to speak. I especially used to feel so insecure about my own abilities and intelligence, which just had me entrapped in this phase of self-doubt and never actually actioning anything. And now I'm an entrepreneur, author, and social media content creator. None of this is to brag, but instead to show you that your past experiences do not have to determine what your future is about to look like. Because you can choose to be the best version of yourself that holds so much more confidence than you could have ever imagined possible for yourself. And you can start that any second as soon as you start practicing real confidence. And that is exactly what I'm going to be teaching you all today. Here is the chapter breakdown of the video. We have to start with discussing all of the confidence mistakes. I'm talking about very common advice that is often fed to you all, but is literally getting you nowhere in your confidence journey. I have tried and tested it myself, and we all need to stop doing those habits. And then of course, chapter number 2 is how to practice real confidence. And chapter number 3, as always, is homework. That is actually going to be a practical strategy, step by step, on something you can do the second this video finishes to actually start practicing confidence. Now, many of you may know that this video is how to be confident part 2. I originally made a confidence video that went absolutely viral, maybe just like a year and a half ago. I was a very different girl back then, and I was definitely on my confidence journey. You guys loved that video, and for good reason. I poured my heart into it. I thought enough time has passed. It is time for part number 2. If you haven't seen part number 1, definitely go check it out, because I am not going to be repeating any of that knowledge or any of those steps in this video. No. This is all going to be fresh, new, and things that I have learned in my confidence journey since even making and posting that video. Before we get right into it, be sure to check out all of the links below in my description. If you didn't know, I actually post on Instagram and TikTok and my Snapchat every single day all about my own self-development journey, how I'm leveling up every single day, how I'm stepping outside my comfort zone. I also just released a newsletter. It's called Self-Obsessed Scoop. That is where I give you guys all of the exclusive tools, links, and practical transformation tips that aren't in any of my YouTube videos. So you can sign up on my website at tamkaur.com. Lastly, I don't know if you heard, but I just brought out a guided journal. It's called the Self-Obsessed Journal. It literally guides you through to becoming the best version of yourself. It's all about self-growth. I won't explain anymore, but all of the benefits and details of it are on my website. And lastly, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that has been built to enable entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online, whether they are growing and managing a huge brand or they are just getting started. People exactly like you. And it doesn't even need to be a stressful process, because Squarespace makes it so easy for you to create a beautiful and professional looking website with their array of gorgeous website templates. Not to mention, they also have an abundance of templates for email marketing campaigns, a really unique feature that I particularly love about their platform. They make it super easy to engage with your audience and sell absolutely anything from products to content to your time, all in one place and all on your own terms. An example of this is their newest feature, Design Intelligence. Design Intelligence helps anyone build a more personalized and unique website that is uniquely tailored to their specific needs. Speaking of various platforms and then of course content, especially if you're a content creator like myself, Squarespace is removing the barriers to starting business, because you no longer need to sell strictly products or keeping inventory. You could literally repurpose the content you're already putting out online, whether it be on social media, whether it's a membership that you're offering, a service that you're offering online. All you have to do is set the price and choose whether you want it to be a one-time or a subscription payment for people to access it. And there you go, you've already got an extra income stream without any of the hassle or stress. So I highly recommend you guys check out squarespace.com and sign up for a free trial to start building your website and experiment and see if that is the right path for you. Are you about to enter your entrepreneurship era? If you are, then you can actually get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain using my link, squarespace.com/tamkaur. Okay, let's begin. How to practice real confidence. Chapter number 1, stop making these confidence mistakes, aka mindset shifts that are going to get you on the right path. Step number 1 is stop normalizing labels. I'm awkward. I'm not photogenic. I can't do that. I'm too shy and quiet. Listen, I used to put these labels onto myself all the time, so I completely get it. At the end of the day, we put these labels onto ourselves because we feel like they are all true facts. And to be honest, they probably are, because you are simply basing them off past experiences that you've been through. But when you do that, the truth is you are using your past to design your present and future life. Because listen, if you didn't like who you have been, why are you so adamant in staying in that exact same place for the rest of your life by continuously describing yourself as a version of yourself that doesn't align with the most ideal version of yourself? The only way to get something different and become confident is by changing your self-perception. You need to choose labels that uplift you so you don't keep manifesting the same odd results for yourself. For example, I was shy, awkward, just socially incapable my entire life, let me tell you. So when I went to university, I was like, I don't know how to get to where I want to be. Let me just figure till I make it. So I told myself I'm extroverted, even though every single personality test I've ever taken told me I was introverted. I was like, I can go up to strangers and talk to them. I can be the life of the party. None of it was technically true because I had no evidence in my life of me being that way. However, I knew if I keep telling myself I'm shy and keep telling myself I'm socially awkward, I'm going to be stuck in that reality for the rest of my life. And guess what? I achieved exactly what I said I was going to do, even though it was so delusional, because I finally changed the narrative I told myself about who I was and the life that I lived. And that is exactly when my life started to transform. And I became this loud, passionate person, which I promise you, me like 5-6 years ago, could never. Step number 2 is stop waiting to feel confident. You've got the whole effing game backwards because confidence is never going to come to you. That's quite literally impossible. Confidence is only ever created by doing. Confidence comes through action and experience. Belief in yourself is only a result of already having done the thing. But most people assume that I can only do the thing once I believe in myself. Where is the belief in yourself going to come if you've never even tried to do the thing before? Makes no sense. Think about it. Self-belief is built up through taking action on something you were so scared to do, but you pushed through it anyway. That's when you start to believe in yourself because you're like, oh, I actually didn't believe I could do that. Force myself to do it anyway. And now I'm never going to be scared of doing that thing again because I have lived experiences of knowing I will always pull through in the end. Because when you start doing things you've never done before, you uncover so many amazing traits you never even thought you would have had. That's what builds up all of the self-belief that you haven't had your entire life. Mistake number 3 is trying to protect your self-esteem. I know this sounds like it might not make sense, but stay with me here. Real confidence can only ever be built in the danger zone. For example, if you feel a little bit insecure and you feel like you're just kind of unlikable, right? And it's just hard for you personally to make friends because you're awkward or because you feel like you come across in a certain way. So because of that fear and insecurity and lack of confidence in that area of your life, you are therefore going to avoid any environment which reflects that insecurity back to you, right? So you're not going to go up and approach a whole big group of friends and try and talk to them, right? Because you hold this inherent belief that I am unlikable, that reality isn't possible for me. I'm not going to push myself there because it's going to make you feel bad about yourself, right? Instead, to protect yourself and your self-esteem, you are going to adopt the personality of this comfortable introvert who only never needs herself. You know, she's super fine with just staying at home, doing her own thing. She just goes about life by herself and she's super content doing that. Wrong! You are refusing to give yourself a chance to actually solve the problem because you're avoiding it altogether. How are you going to grow your confidence in a particular area if you're never actually going there in that area? And listen, it's so normal as to why you have this tendency. All humans do. We are all operating to kind of comfort our ego and try and feel as good as we possibly can throughout the day because we already have enough challenges and adversities thrown our way, okay? We are not trying to run towards discomfort and facing all of the things that we feel insecure about. But unfortunately, your self-esteem and confidence can only truly grow once you expose yourself to the situations that scare you. And finally, mistake number 4 is assuming confidence equals flawlessness. When we think about confidence, or we were to visualize this idea of the ideal, attractive, powerful woman who walks into a room and exudes confidence in every single area and is just effortless in everything she does, I'm sorry, but that is quite literally impossible. No human being can avoid making mistakes. No one. So even if that woman that we were just visualizing then that exudes confidence and is the epitome of confidence and high self-esteem, even if she does exist, she cannot consistently keep up that image 100% of the time because she is human. So why are you expecting yourself to do that? And this is why we've got confidence wrong. Confidence is messing up, stumbling on your words, making all the mistakes, but handling it with confidence. Basically standing your ground in every single decision you make, whether it be good or bad. Rather than apologizing or feeling anxious or feeling embarrassed, especially thinking that you're cringe, people-pleasing, and most importantly, over-explaining yourself to others as to why you did the thing or made a mistake or stumbled on your words or thought, oh my God, I didn't give the speech right. No. You did the speech, however you did the speech, now you're gonna own it because you have no control of it, you can't change it. You owe it to yourself to be confident no matter what you are doing. If you need a certain set of circumstances or to act in a certain way or present yourself, look a certain way or speak in a certain way to feel confident, that's not real confidence. Real confidence isn't about having the right set of circumstances or right set of traits. It's about owning what you do whenever you do it, no matter what it is. And that leads us to chapter number 2, how to practice real confidence. Step number 1 is finding evidence. If something is holding you back on your confidence journey, a thought, a belief, an insecurity, and you know it's bad for you, right? Like you think a certain way, like I'm not good at this or I can't do that. You know it's not serving you. You know it's not getting you to where you need to be, and yet you can't seem to let it go. Why? Because there's a part of you that believes it's true. And this is where the step comes in. We need to find evidence to prove all of our limiting beliefs and insecurities to be wrong. That's the only way to overcome them and get them out of our subconscious mind for good so that we can eventually move on and finally be confident in all of those areas we thought we were so bad at. When you start seeking out and only focusing on positive evidence that supports your capabilities and your skills in whichever area you felt like you were incompetent in, you are finally able to create this shift to self-validation and start shifting your self-perception to a more positive one that serves you and your confidence so that you feel better about yourself every single day. So here are some practical tips on how to actually achieve this. I think you should start by finding the origin of why you hold that belief in the first place. Are you insecure about your nose because somebody when you were in school said it? And if you think about it before then, you would never looked in the mirror and thought, I have a big nose or it doesn't suit my face, right? Somebody else had an opinion and you internalized it. Does that make it true? Is that an entirely valid opinion? Or was that person hurting and projecting their insecurities onto you? Once you found the origin and you've kind of delved into that and questioned if that belief is actually valid based on where it's come from, because 100% of the time we are not born with insecurities, they are merely thrust upon us, I then recommend you talking to family, friends, just people you love and trust about your vulnerability and about your insecurity and ask them to tell you why it's false. Let me tell you, a lot of the time we need somebody else's perception because we can be so overly critical of ourselves whole time. We have so many people around us who admire us and who are inspired by us and wish that they had all of the things that we don't even appreciate about ourselves. So I think that that's a really nice way to start looking at yourself more positively. And then thirdly, always reframe what the limiting belief is. So maybe the limiting belief is, oh my God, like I'm at a disadvantage because I'm really shy and quiet and socially awkward. So what if you're shy and quiet? There's nothing wrong with that. You do not have to be extroverted. That is not the proper desired trait. You can be perfectly fine and shy and quiet if that's what makes you feel comfortable and if that's the life that you want to live and that's what makes you happy and you wish that you could go around just being more of a listener than a talker. You do that, but you have to do it with confidence and you have to own it. So instead, you're going to reframe that belief of I'm not good enough and people aren't going to like me because I'm too quiet and therefore boring to I am a great listener. I simply prefer to observe and sit back. I am introverted by nature, but that nature gives me X, Y, and Z benefits. The world is already filled with so many people who can be the loudest in the room. I have so many gifts and so much to offer by being different from others. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the way I am. And finally, a really great way to find evidence to prove your limiting beliefs wrong, if you are struggling to do it by yourself, you can actually ask ChatGPT to do it for you. Simply go to ChatGPT.com, click in the little box, and I want you to type in this prompt, prove my limiting belief wrong, and then type in what the limiting belief is. So for example, I am a 20-year-old woman living alone in London. I have to go and work at a 9 to 5 every single day. I feel like it's really difficult for me to make friends because I'm introverted by nature and it simply won't be possible for me because I feel like I am a lonely and quiet person. You always need to include detail and a really good specific description because that's when you're gonna really get the answer from ChatGPT that just hits home for you. And I promise you, just try it today. It's gonna make you feel so much better. Step number 2 is so important, and this is be comfy in being seen and perceived by others. This links a lot into exposure therapy, which I will explain in a second. But what I mean when I say this with examples is like when I step out, I am always overdressed. I am always wearing outfits that I know are a little bit out there or out of the ordinary and that are definitely going to get me looks and stares in public. That is not because I'm addicted to attention, okay? Being stared at in public is actually very uncomfortable. I do it because it's a form of exposure therapy. Even this, like I'm about to step out now into London after I finish filming this video. I know know people are going to look at me because they're going to be in their casual work attire. But by doing this for the last few years, it's allowed me to be more comfortable in being seen and stepping out of that limiting mindset that, oh, I hope I'm not too overdressed, or I hope no one looks at me, or people are going to judge me or think I'm weird, or that I'm a try-hard. And the reason it works in helping you overcome those beliefs that keep you from being confident is because of something called exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is when you repeatedly expose yourself to the thing that you are scared of, and you've done it enough times that eventually it numbs all of the fear and the insecurity and the anxiety you have around it. Not only that, but it's just training your mind to stop thinking that other people are judging you. So some practical ways to do this, like I said, go out in an overdressed outfit that is authentic to you. Authenticity is so important. Take a selfie of yourself in a crowded area or like in a store where people are around you. Video yourself in public, make a cute little 0.5, TikTok. Or you can simply just post whatever the hell you want on social media without asking for other people's approval and opinions on it first. That is exactly what helps you build this confidence in being seen and perceived by others and not giving an F what they think. Step number 3 is to rewire your subconscious mind to work in confidence. Your subconscious mind is so important because it controls all of the automatic thoughts, beliefs, and habits that you experience every single day, every single moment, which then influences how you perceive not only yourself, but also the world around you. So if your subconscious mind isn't in the right state, you are never going to be your best, most confident self. The way that you reprogram and you rewire your subconscious mind to work in your favor, so then it becomes this machine that just makes you more and more confident by the day, is by choosing differently and thinking differently. A very, very common habit is we start to put so much trust and belief into the first thought that we come into our mind because we assume them to be true. That is false. Thoughts are just thoughts. You don't have to give power to them unless it's serving you and benefiting you to believe them. This is why it's so important to use things like affirmations and visualization to start imagining a reality where you are successful, where you do feel attractive, where you feel powerful and in control of your life and confident. Because that's what starts reprogramming your subconscious to think about yourself differently until it becomes a habit, and then you're always thinking like that about yourself. A really easy way to do this is by starting to incorporate these new thoughts or these new habits and behaviors to things you are already doing every single day, so it kind of triggers that positive and that confident response. For example, make it a habit that every single morning when you're brushing your teeth, you are visualizing how amazing your day is going to go, or you are visualizing doing the opposite of whatever your insecurity is, right? So let's say your insecurity is you're not photogenic and you hate photos being taken of you. Every morning when you brush your teeth, you're going to overcome that and rewire your subconscious by imagining a reality in which the cameras love you, in which every single picture comes out amazing, in which you look in the mirror every single day and you are just feeling yourself. Another super practical way of achieving this is by using a particular journaling method which incorporates visualization to your future self. I've actually incorporated these pages all throughout the Self-Obsessed Journal Growth Edition, where every 7 entries you have a future journaling page with specific instructions, and that page I incorporated all throughout the journal because the mission is by the end of filling out the entire journal, you will be an entirely different person and you would have completely rewired your subconscious mind. I know how important it is rewiring your mind to become an entirely different person and somebody that you've always wanted to be. So this journal basically guides you through that process. And the last step for building real confidence is to move away from results and focus on the process. So people assume, yeah, I'm gonna hustle harder, I'm gonna achieve my dreams, I'm gonna be at the gym every single day, and then I'm gonna feel so confident. Those are all great things, 100%. But let me tell you, none of those things build real confidence. All of those awards and accomplishments and achievements that you're doing every single day are simply little embellishments. No, not even embellishments, labels, which from step 1 we already know is not the way to go, that you are adding onto yourself to try and support yourself in being more confident. But labels are fickle and labels can fall off. Because imagine something happens, or you're traveling, or you're just in an incident, touch wood, I hope you're not, where you can't work out, or you finish school so you can't use academic validation to fuel your confidence anymore, right? Or your life or your circumstances changes. Where does the confidence go? The confidence is going to slip away with all of those labels and all of those little embellishments that you've added on. Not real confidence. That's because when it comes to working on yourself to build confidence, it's not about the results that you get from working on yourself. It's about the actual process of working on yourself, which is what's building the confidence. What I mean by this is, it's not about the fact that you got straight A's. It's about the process in which you showed up every single day to study to get those straight A's. You are keeping every single promise you are telling yourself that you're going to do. You are always showing up to do the things that you said you were going to do when you were going to do them. You are not procrastinating on your desires. And you are building this trust with yourself, which is making the strongest relationship with yourself ever. That is real confidence. And finally, chapter number 3, homework. Now, normally at the end of every one of my podcast episodes, my podcast is called Self-Obsessed, by the way, or at the end of every single one of my YouTube videos, I have homework, which is like 4 to 5 steps of different tasks you can do that will help you start the journey straight away. But today I want to do something a little bit different. Instead of offering you just a bunch of different tasks to do, I'm going to give you a whole strategy. So these are steps in order that you should do that basically give you a mission to achieve confidence. So follow each of these steps in order and carefully. Step 1 is identify a limiting belief that you hold about yourself that is preventing you from being the most confident version of yourself. Ideally, choose the one that's bothering you the most at the moment, or the one that's having the biggest influence on your life. And here, I'm not talking about insecurities like your acne or your body image. I'm talking about the beliefs you hold about yourself. So for example, the belief that you are unattractive, or the belief that you are unlikable, or the belief that you are boring or you are unintelligent. Those are just thoughts, those are beliefs, they are not facts. Step number 2 is to now find evidence as to why that belief is wrong. So open the notes up on your phone or get a piece of paper out, and I want you to make a list of all of the life experience you have that proves that belief to be wrong. For example, I know I'm not socially awkward because I gave a presentation in front of a class. A socially awkward person that is incapable of overcoming their fear of speaking would never do that. And like I said before, you should definitely speak to your friends or family to help you find that evidence. And you can even talk to ChatGPT just to find general evidence in the world as to why, being a quiet person does not mean that you are a socially awkward or unlikable or boring person. Another example is if the limiting belief you hold about yourself is that you are boring, you're going to find every single time in your life you did something that was unexpected of your character, or that you just did like for the plot, that you did spontaneously. All of these reasons as to why you could never fit into that label. Okay, step number 3. Now that we're feeling much better about that limiting belief because of all of the evidence that we found, it's now time to run towards fear. I'm going to give you a space of 2 weeks, okay? Within the next 2 weeks, just schedule 1 hour minimum that you are going to commit to running towards what you're scared of and immersing yourself in the environment in which fuels your insecurity or your limiting belief. Because once you go through that experience, that is exactly when you can fully prove the limiting belief to be wrong and move on from it for good. And I think the most efficient way to do this is reference your list of evidence that you already wrote, right? You're not going to have everything in the world, but you're going to have a few experiences where you're like, okay, I don't think I am like this. But the only way to fully overcome it is to find out what you're missing from the list, right? Because there are still so many things that you haven't done, which is probably fueling the fact that you have that limiting belief about yourself. So I want you to look at the list and think, what would I need to write down here that would make me feel better about this thought and would therefore make me confident in that area? So if the limiting belief you hold is that you are socially awkward and you're like, okay, well, I've done this and I gave this presentation and I raise my hand sometimes, or I can, carry on a conversation, that's all good, but I still kind of feel socially awkward. Why? What is missing? What is the one experience you would need to conquer to be like, socially awkward, me? What? I mean, that is so hard to believe, like that, okay? So have a think. Maybe you need to post on social media to be more confident that way. Maybe you need to challenge yourself to raise your hand in class every single day. Maybe you need to turn up to a networking event alone and walk up to a group of people and initiate conversation. Maybe you need to dine out in a restaurant alone as a solo day. Then you simply do that action. And lastly, step number 4, probably the most important about this whole confidence mission I'm setting you on, is to make it small, manageable, and accessible. Telling yourself to be talkative is way too overwhelming and actually very difficult if you've been a certain way your whole life and you're trying to make that change. However, telling yourself, I just need to do this one little action once a day, is already you doing huge progress towards your goal. For example, just raising your hand once a day. And then from there, once you've adjusted to that first small step, then you start building up slowly and making it bigger. So for example, from raising your hand once a day in class, maybe you're going to do it in every lesson. Maybe you're going to volunteer to read in front of the class. Maybe you're going to audition for the school play to really get comfortable with your fear of being perceived. Same with being more confident in the fact that you feel like you're shy. It's not about being more talkative. It's about owning that that's who you are and that you're just an introverted girly, and that is absolutely fine. So for example, your small steps that you're going to do is simply expose yourself to being in more socially active environments where everybody's talking, that brings up that fear and anxiety that makes you feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm not talking enough, or people are going to think I'm weird because I'm quiet. No, you are going to keep putting yourself in those environments, and with every time you're in that environment, you're going to start rewiring that subconscious by choosing thoughts that benefit you and reframing that limiting belief to, there is nothing wrong with the fact that I'm not saying anything. In fact, I'm learning so much about people just from standing here and observing, and that is completely okay. That does not make me unworthy, and that does not make me unlikable. The right people for me are always going to find me and always find my quietness and my ability to only speak when I find it meaningful. Great. And that brings us to the end of this video. Oh my God, how to build real confidence part 2. I had so much fun planning out this entire video, figuring out what I was gonna say and just making it super different from the first part. Like I said before, go and check it out because it is a winner, okay? That is the video that made me blow up on YouTube. It was really good. I had so much fun filming this. Confidence is definitely my favorite topic to talk about, and I honestly have been on such a journey with it. A lot of the limiting beliefs I gave examples of in this video, like I'm unintelligent, I'm boring, I'm socially awkward, I'm too shy, I'm unlikable, I'm unattractive, all things I've thought about myself, all ways in which I've been insecure and I've not been confident. So I have truly lived through all of this. I know that all of these methods work. I would never tell you guys to do something that I have not tried and tested myself. I just can't wait to see how you are all going to transform and just create the best possible life for yourself in 2025. I'm wishing you the best. I would love for you all to send me a message on my Instagram DM and tell me what your experience has been, because I love reading through them. Alternatively, feel free to comment down below and let me know what part of the video resonated with you and what you're gonna try. Like, hold yourself accountable. Say in the comments, this is what I'm gonna do, so we can all hold you accountable, and I'll be responding to as many comments as I can. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you next week for a brand new video. Bye.